hearty welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening in the kitchen. I'm really excited to have Dom join. She's a regular guest in my kitchen, so it always is such a lovely, relaxed evening for me when Dom is here, because it's really just like having family. She spends so much time in my real kitchen as well. So this evening, she's going to share her amazing knowledge on the chakra system. And I know Dom shares so much with me when we're together. And I'm going to leave the rest to her to just share and tell you what she's going to chat about. So thank you, everybody. Remember, at any time, you can always unmute yourself, ask questions, write comments. I do follow the chat. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the evening. Thanks, Domi. Welcome.
Thank you, everyone. And Elaine, thank you so much. It's such a wonderful thing that you do, giving us all this platform and really just to share and spread this work that is so important, especially now in these times. So grateful to you for that. Thank you. So I think I'm just going to go straight into it. And then obviously we'll have the questions afterwards. So I'll give you a little bit of background as to where my kind of fascination with the chakras started. So I did a Reiki training. I did level 1, 2, and 3. And within that was, I was introduced to, also know Lainey's very familiar with Caroline Myss Anatomy of the Spirit. So already there was this like thing of the chakras that kind of caught my attention, but I was quite young. And then I did a teacher training in 2009 with Jim Harrington. I'm sure some of you know him. And we had to do this book review in this teacher training. And it was like the thickest book that I chose. It was called Eastern Body, Western Mind. The author is Enodia Judith. And I literally read the book from cover to cover. And I remember like doing the book report and I said to Jim, yeah, you know, and I read it from cover to cover. He's like, you did what? Like you read it from cover to cover? I'm like, yeah, I did. But it was also all around the different archetypes and looking at the body and what happens energetically. And then most of you know, I've done quite a lot of studying with a teacher called Shimon Ben Avi, who comes out from Israel, and he actually speaks in Hebrew, and he has a lady, well, his very good friend, Leora, also a yoga teacher, and she translates for him. And this theme of the chakras just kept coming up. And, you know, often you're in these big groups and different things speak to different people, but I very much heard this almost like he just said, he was encouraging us to work in a 7-week cycle, addressing each of the energy centers. And I started that probably about, gosh, it was my birthday. And I'd started teaching again. It was probably 2017, maybe 2017, 2018. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start teaching on root chakra. And I've not let that cycle go ever since. So I've just kept in a 7-week cycle. Whether I've been teaching or not, I'm still wearing the color the whole week. And it's really started to become, you know, obviously at first I would like arrive in this color for the whole week. And I was still in a corporate job then. And I thought, you know, my colleagues must have thought like, what is this girl? You know, she's crazy, like wearing these different colors all the time. And I just got deeper and deeper into it. And then actually lockdown was a really amazing opportunity to just expand on it. And so I have some ladies, very special ladies that are here this evening who've been with me literally since the first class I taught when we went into lockdown, and we've been doing this cycle ever since. We haven't let it go, and so we just keep moving in this 7-week cycle, you know, just addressing each of these energy centers. But obviously that's, you know, more from the yoga point of view. But actually, really, what I really want to talk about and share is just how it's become this almost like toolkit for me, and then I hope for the people that I've shared it with, that this then becomes like a toolkit for life and a way of navigating life. And I've really been able to test it in these times, and I'll explain to you, especially with root chakra. So So root chakra, it's the energy center around the base of the spine. It also incorporates the legs, the knees, anything that provides support, if you want to say, in the musculature, anything that provides support. And the color is red. The mantra, so each one has also a sound that vibrates to the same frequency as the color. So the mantra is Lam. The element is earth. It's earth, and then the sense is smell, and I'm going to link it all for you. So what it is that we live in a dynamic world. Everything is changing all the time, and it's almost that has now become a great ability, like your ability to adapt and kind of cope with change in this dynamic flux that we're in is really like, it's going to really help you in being able to progress, and it's going to really, the more comfortable we can be with things changing around us, and the better we can kind of still maintain our center and our kind of inner peace. That's going to really help us through these times. So we live in this world where there are multi-billion-dollar industries kind of benefiting off our fears. Okay, so it's like, I mean, a lot of us here in South Africa, security is a big thing. So it's like, okay, well, you need to have burglar bars, and well, okay, that's not good enough. You also need to have electric fences, and then also, an alarm system. And so we in this constant like worrying about security. So that's obviously very much security in that sense, but it's in all sorts of senses. So also, take it into the medical world. So it's also like, okay, well, you need to have a hospital plan, and then that's not good enough. You also need to have gap cover, and then do you have an income protector because something. So we up against this kind of constant fear that's being kind of filtered through. And what it actually does on an energetic level, it's taking energy from the future and trying to bring it into the present, because we're worrying about things that might not ever happen. And a lot of us have spent a lot of time, I know I have to, we've all come from definitely times of anxiety, and kind of, the mind starts to wonder, and you start worrying about things, and you create these stories in your mind, and like very often these things don't even materialize. So it's like you have these great stories in your head, very vivid imagination, and actually it's just a story. I just wanted to just backtrack a bit, because when we're talking about energy, everything is energy, even matter is energy. And the field of quantum physics, and actually Einstein was paying a lot of attention to this field. He spoke of it, spoke about it as the field. And the field is around us, but it's also within us. And I'm sure everyone's familiar with an electro, like an ECG, an electrocardiogram. So that's going to obviously measure the heart. And then there's also obviously the EEG, which is the electroencephalogram, and that measures brain activity. And the thing with that is that it's not actually touching the brain. So when they use the probes, they actually not, they can detect brain activity without touching the brain. So that's saying that obviously there's energy around us, but then there's also energy within us. So in terms of root chakra, it really challenges us to be comfortable and to try and just understand that we can't always control what's happening around us, but we can control kind of the way we respond, and how we're going to allow these stories in our mind to kind of either take us kind of totally away from ourselves, away from our center. Another thing about root chakra is it's very much, it's connected to the sun, and it's very much the male energy. So I'll speak about next the sacral chakra, and that's definitely more the female energy. But the male energy it's everything that is active, and we need that. We need to be active. We can't kind of always be passive, and it's all about actually the balancing of these energies. That's actually what we're trying to do, is move away from the extremes. And also in Chinese medicine, they talk a lot about, you have like the right side, that is the masculine connected to the sun, the left side, the feminine connected to the moon. And this, the chakras really are where these energies intersect from those two sides at the center line. That is actually what a chakra is. It's just a high order of energy. It spins, and obviously we want it to be spinning and not blocked, so that it's the energy can just flow. So when things happen, they kind of translate into the body, and so that's really what we're working with. So that is pretty much the root chakra. So, and also please stop me at any point if you'd like to, or if things aren't making sense. But I just thought I'd like to run through each of the chakras, like we do in the numerology, run through each of the numbers, and then we can kind of have a chat. So then we get to the sacral chakra. So it's really around the sacrum, the hips, the reproductive organs, the bladder. So when something is happening in that energy center, it's going to manifest in those areas. So again, I'm going to say it's very much the female energy, the passive, where we addressing the active energy with the root and the masculine. This is feminine, it's passive, it's connected to the moon. The moon governs the tides. It governs our cycles as well, and we are 70% water. So you can imagine the effect of the moon on us. And they're doing so many studies now, a lot of neuroscientists, around the effect that the moon actually has, because the energy is so powerful. And like I say, we are 70% water. It will have an effect on us. So if you're too passive, then that's also no good. So it's about having the intelligence, the ability to kind of really just bring yourself into balance. So it's a constant moving. It's not the center line that is just static. It's like it's going to pull to the right side, it's going to pull to the left side. You know, it's not this thing that we arrive at and like everything is aligned and that's how we are for the rest of our lives. You know, we're always going to have happen challenges, but also I really, really believe that we have within us everything that we need to overcome everything that we are faced with or that we are challenged with. You know, that we have the toolkit. It's all within us. So what starts to happen with the sacral chakra, that is where the habits come in. So we all kind of a result of our habits. It's what we're doing every day that kind of builds our lives. And so this is often very much the center that is linked to addiction. And like I said, we all have habits, and it's very interesting. So the color is orange, the element is water, the sense is taste. And through our sense of taste, we experience life. So we experience life through our taste, and it's very much connected to the ability to hold both pleasure and pain. So that is when the problems come in, when we actually separate pleasure and pain, and they're actually all part of a whole. It's all part of this experience of life. And when we start to not be able to hold both of them and not be able to kind of delay gratification, that's kind of where the imbalances come in. So there's no coincidence with regards to sacral chakra that the greatest temptation is around these things that we need for survival. So it's procreation and eating. That is how we survive. The species would not survive if not for that. And so obviously that's where the most temptation is. So that's how we know that we will always survive. So it's also no coincidence. Then the other thing with regards to sacral chakra is it's also about what in our lives has continuity. So we need to always be looking at or addressing or kind of just looking at our lives and what in our lives has continuity. Are we doing something just for the pleasure, or is there continuity? So I'll get into, when we go into the digestive area, solar plexus, I'll get a little bit deeper into that, but it's really around, are we, you know, we all like nice things and we all like to indulge, but is it just for the sake of pleasure, or is there some continuity within it? There's so much, like, I mean, I could speak for an hour on just one chakra, so I'm just going to try and keep it concise. So then we move into solar plexus. The color is yellow. The mantra is Ram. Sorry, I didn't say the mantra for sacral is Vam. The element is fire, and it's all around the digestive organs. And we need fire and heat and fire for digestion. Like, it's a process of heat, metabolism and heat. And so we need this internal fire. So yes, we're talking about digestion of food, but we're also talking about digestion of thought and emotion. So it's everything we're consuming. So if you can think of your consumption as not just like, what are you drinking? What are you eating? What are you actually taking into your body energetically? What are the conversations you're having? What are you watching? What are you reading? What are you listening to? It all becomes so important, because that is what you are digesting. And so the whole thing with solar plexus is a lot of this energy. So we store a lot of emotion in our hips, so that's more sacral chakra. But with solar plexus, throughout the day, we're encountering experiences, we're experiencing life. We see something, it upsets us, and it stores as energy. So we're trying to actually access this energy and move it before it stores and stagnates, and then kind of creates dis-ease in the body. So it's really just this constant movement of energy. And so the other thing that's also gotten a lot of attention lately is that, you know, they're talking about they say the gut or the microbiome, but there's really another whole brain in this energy center. And it's, you know, also obviously then what we're feeding the digestive center is also going to then feed the brain. So there's a very strong connection between the two. And just like there's so many small little things that we don't really realize are actually so profound in say, let's talk about consumption of food. And it's not just like what you're eating, it's how you're eating it. So what is your attitude to what you're eating? You know, Elaine and I have many discussions about this. There's so many also just really simple things that you can just, like, if you just think about, if you just try and consume as much life force as possible in terms of eating, like what are the most, you know, like food that is fresh, and, you know, fruit and vegetables and things that contain life force, that are vitamin and mineral rich, that have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. So, you know, there are all these things that we can do to support our bodies. And we've also all, I think, had a journey with our eating. I mean, I've done everything. I was at ballet school. I then was all into personal training, but I've really come to something that I feel will see me through the rest of my life, because when I'm eating, I'm feeling that everything is nourishing my cells. And it's really this, like, how can I support this body in like, we want to give ourselves our best fighting chance. You know, give yourself your best fighting chance, and how can you support the body like that? And then you really start to, actually, maybe I'm not going to have that. You know, it just becomes almost like second nature then. And then, you know, just little things like definitely not to drink cold water with a meal. You're going to then, you need that process to be, the heat needs to be high, and you can't then kind of, what's the word, put out the flames with cold water, you know. So just like tiny little things that we can tweak. Okay, so I think that's enough around solar plexus. So moving upwards is the heart. So heart chakra. So this is the energy center that is concerned with the heart, the lungs, and also the skin. We don't realize how profound our skin is. So the skin is the biggest organ in the body. It is also our protection from the outside world. So it is protecting us. The skin keeps everything out to protect us. And so if you think of it on the other level, it's also, what are we absorbing? what is our permeability to the outside world. So if you think of like, if someone's thick-skinned, they don't really take things to heart. But maybe they can be too thick-skinned. So we always trying to just be not in the extremes. It's moving away from the polarities and really trying to bring ourselves center. And so if you're going to, like, I mean, I've definitely throughout my childhood, even into adulthood, experienced skin issues. And it's a lot about, so the themes around heart chakra are forgiveness, trust, and unconditional love. So it's kind of trusting that everything is going to be okay. So it's kind of also linked in a way to the root energy center, because it's just, that we have to really believe and have faith that everything is as it's meant to be. I mean, I think most of us believe that everything is predestined and preordained, and that's, even though, and this is very complicated, it's around the second law of thermodynamics and entropy, how everything, although it seems that it's kind of folding into chaos or unfolding into chaos, it's actually perfect order. So we talk about like the black holes, so stars that kind of unfold into a black hole. But I'm not going to get, but I just to give you the background of it's really about our ability to trust and to have hope and unconditional love of ourselves, unconditional love of others. It's around non-judgment. Can we accept others as they are? Can we accept ourselves as we are? And so, like I say, then the issues are gonna kind of manifest in the heart, the lungs, the skin. So don't underestimate the skin. I have also a deep fascination of the skin. And then moving a little bit higher up. So when we move into, the element, for heart chakra is air, and the sense is touch. So if you obviously skin, touch, and then air is all about space. So it's like the space we give to others, the space we give to ourselves. And then when we're moving into the higher chakras, they don't it's not as focused on sense and elements. So it's kind of like we've transcended a little bit higher. So the next energy center is throat chakra. The color is blue. The mantra is hum. The sense is hearing. So it's all about our ability to listen and speak. So the ears are so close to our center for communication. They're part of our center for communication. So it's about, yes, speaking, but then also, can we listen? And there's such wonderful exercises you can do where you just kind of just listen to someone and try not to even nod or just really listen or not. It's not about then your reply to them. So I also feel like there's a lot in this energy center in the world right now. It's also about speaking our truth, our ability to be able to so it's about our inner voice, our deepest truth, and connecting to that, but then also kind of what needs to be said. And often you can have these conversations on your own with someone. You can actually talk to them in your head, and then you realize actually how little then needs to be said. So obviously it's the balance between feeling like you've lost your voice, or you don't have your voice, or you feel like you can't speak up, and then also being kind of verbose or loud or dominating. I always think about, and we do this so much in our daily interactions, and I'm probably the worst at it, but it's like we go into so much detail. We'll kind of talk to someone and we'll go into all this detail, and I catch myself all the time, and it's like, did that person really need to know that detail? So sometimes it's about being a bit more concise. So that is all happening in this energy center. Then the third eye. So we're in third eye week, and we'll do it maybe towards the end of our session. I would love to do a centering third eye meditation, a guided meditation with all of you. because this is such a powerful energy center, and it's so also right now with everything that's happening, it's so almost serendipitous. So the color is purple. It's also the color of consciousness, purple. The mantra is Om, and it's really about the bringing together and the merging of polarities. So it's everything we were speaking about earlier, and Sala's come to listen to the talk as well. So it's about this right side that is active, masculine, connected to the sun, the left side, passive, feminine, connected to the moon. How can we bring these energies? We all have these energies within us. So they are within us all. Today, you have so many different expressions of gender or sexuality. You know, there's all these different, I mean, I don't even know half of them, but no matter where you are, there will always be these different energies we all have these energies within us. So we all have male energy, we all have female energy, and it's about balancing the two. It's about knowing when to be active, knowing when to be passive. And it's also about moving away from the extremes. So really, this is what the centering is, you know, this is where we want to be, away from the extremes, away from the polarities. And it's the center of like non-duality. So the ability to see things as a whole and not see things as separate. And that really just, if we could all be doing that in the world right now, it would be really helpful. So I would love to talk about the twos, all the twos that happened, but maybe that's for another day. But anyway, let me not get sidetracked. So this is the third eye center. So obviously, you know, the hair, the front of the head, yeah, that's where things kind of would manifest. And then we have the crown chakra. So I see it as no color, as transparent, and the sound is silence. It's an interpretation from my teacher that I've taken on, and it's about that we really are from this whole. We are all born whole. No one is born unwhole or broken. We are all born whole, and like I said, with the ability to overcome whatever is in front of us, whatever we need to master for this lifetime, we have that within us. And so it's all about tapping into our infinite possibility, our infinite potential, that we are all born into this, obviously different circumstances, and you know, there are always challenges, but like, I always think about, you know, just as much as there is potential for something good, for something bad, there's just as much potential for something good. So it's really like how you want to see things, you know, and how you want to, where you want to be in that energy is like, do you want to really try and tap into your infinite potential, your infinite possibility, and that the whole comes from the whole, and the whole is always whole, and it's this cycle of no beginning and no end. And I always do it in the meditations, but it's really that we just, and then it's starting at the beginning again. So there we go back down to roots. But you really, the roots energy center is like, you can't do anything until you have grounded, you know. So there's just so much in it. There's so many practical things we can do. Okay, so I think I've spoken for quite a bit now. So I don't know if we want to have some questions or, yeah, any interaction.
So Dom, thank you so much. You know, the more you speak about it, I mean, we've chatted. I've known you for years, so I know that you're doing, each week you do a different chakra. But as you speak about it, it's amazing. I don't know how all of you feel, but you can hear, like, it just gets. You use this phrase. It really just from the cloud. You just download, and it comes out so naturally and so comfortably when you speak about it, because you embody it, you live it, and you've really practiced it. You know, it's one thing teaching, but it's quite another thing practicing what you teach, and you really do practice what you teach. The more I hear about it, and the more it's so easy to listen to you chat about it. And I also, what I'm doing is thinking how lovely it is to do a whole week on one chakra, because like you say, you could spend a month on something. There's so much to it. We living in these, you know, living on earth requires the duality. It requires the yin and the yang. It requires the base chakra, and it requires the crown chakra, and the understanding of them and the merging of them. So, you know, honestly, don't feel like you're speaking too much. To me, it was just like music to my ears. And I know you're just touching on just a little bit. I'm going to throw caution to the wind and actually boldly ask perhaps Hillary, if you could just make a comment. I know that you've been working with Dom for the past 3 years, and you acquainted with her system of chakras. What has the experience been like for you?
I can't even begin to really, for me to embrace the chakra each week, with Dom and with the yoga movements, it really enhances my day completely. It's I mean, even my I've got 2 border collies. My border collies got involved. He comes to he walks into the yoga session when I'm doing it to come and, you know, hears Dom's voice. It's but the what also fascinates me is, like, each week we could be doing similar, I just can't think of the yoga pose, yeah. But if it's a similar sequence, but if one's, like, you know, if it's the crown chakra or the root chakra or the heart chakra, the actual sequence seems so different, even though the poses may be very similar.
I follow. I hear exactly what you're saying. You know, yeah. Where you do
so your whole focus changes because Dom is guiding you through it in such a way that your mind just becomes focused on the chakra, what you're doing, and then as you build up through the week, I just find it becomes more intense as well. It's amazing. I think you know, I'm just very, very lucky to be involved with Dom and to be doing it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Hillary. Thank you for sharing. And you know, you bring up, just like you said, I mean, it's something that I've learned just on, you know, small little things, literally. And we know this, but when you really have a moment where something just clicks, where it's like a part of the puzzle that just clicks, you know, where you put attention is where you get attention. And I often think of students that I have, and they'll go, oh, I've got a really sore neck, and I've got a really sore neck, and then I've got a really sore neck. And you're like, where you put attention is where you get attention. And then you know, you've got the rest of your body, and bear with me, I'll thread this through. You've got the rest of your body. If you drew your attention to areas of support, you know, it moves away from the pain body, and you see where the support is. So like you say, when you go to a chakra and you engage in that chakra doing the same sequence, the poses take on a whole different life. There'll be the same sequence, like you said, each week. Breathe through different messages, different layers to really work through. So that's beautiful.
And then I've also found, I've also found over the almost 3 years doing it that like for example, the heart chakra used to be my favorite chakra. Then it can change. It also just kind of depends on, I don't know what it really depends on, but there'll become a point where, like, I didn't particularly identify the root chakra. Now I love it. You know, maybe now, you know, for some reason I need it more. And so it seems to, like, yes, it's
wonderful.
You know, kind of where you're at in your life is what one kind of, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So you know, where you are is what what you get and what you need at the time. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Hilary. I want to open up anybody else who has any questions or want to make any comment. Yes, Pete.
Hi, Dom.
Hi, Pete.
Hey, so you're amazing at describing, and your knowledge of the chakras is fantastic, and it's just amazing to think that we all have this inside of us, all these different energies and levels, and we can work on them. But can you talk a bit about the chakra system as a whole? In terms, like, for example, like trying to, like, if somebody knows nothing about it, to explain to us what the chakras are and how the system as a whole, why we should be concerned about it.
Sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, like I said, I mean, I think most people from the beginning, like I was saying about, there's energy around us, there's energy within us. So there's this field, and like I say, Einstein was talking about it, and it's, if you know anything around quantum physics will also support this, that there is this field around us. And then, like I was saying, with the electroencephalogram, the EEG, you can detect brain activity without putting the probes. You know, it's around. It's not like, I think that's the thing, is we think it's all in our heads, but it's actually what is in our heads actually. The ego, the I, the persona, our story. I also love Bruce Lipton. Sorry, this is a little bit off but I'll bring it back. He also talks about the broadcast. Okay, so he's like, let's say you have your TV and you plug it in. Okay, your TV breaks, but the broadcast is still there. So the broadcast is still happening. Does that kind of make sense? So it's like, whatever you're plugging in, whatever body, whatever it is you're plugging in, there is this frequency around us that is irrespective of us or our story of ourselves or whatever, you know, if that makes sense. So really what it is in terms of a whole, it's like this means of being able to kind of attain equanimity, equilibrium, centeredness, to be so in your center that nothing can kind of, you know, just disrupt that or disturb that like, and I'm getting better at it. And trust me, I was like not a warrior, like warrior 1 or 2 or 3. I was like a warrior, like worrying about everything. Like, I mean, I think we also have this neuroses that gets passed down, but you know all about that. But like, you know, like, you know, I read about things that would never like actually happen, and all this anxiety, and I've really been able to put that to the test. So it's really like I hope my internet doesn't go funny now, but anyway, can you still hear me and see me? Yes. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, Dom, all good.
I'm just changing networks.
I hope Dom comes back. So while she's just trying to adjust and come back.
Is that better?
Yes. We can hear you. You aren't moving well, but we can hear you. There.
Yeah, I just changed networks. But so what I was saying is, it's really like where we want to be is in our center. In every aspect of life, we want to be in our center and away from the extremes and away from the polarities. But like I say, it's not like you just, I mean, we're not yogis living in caves, right? Life happens. There's triggers, there's challenges. So it's really about this constant, almost like it's almost like a spiral or something that undulates kind of from side to side. So you get pulled a little bit to the left and then a little bit to the right. And it's about, you know, you just get better and better over time at bringing yourself center. If that makes sense.
So,
That's great.
you
Thank you.
know, in other words, what you're saying is we're not just this physical matter. We are a vibration of energy, and that are made up of seven. There's seven. I think
Yes.
they're probably, but there's seven main ones.
Yeah.
Each of them, when we tune in and reflect and study it and teach it like you do, gives us the opportunity to understand those areas and how it can support us and bring our frequency back to center. Because when our, we really, like you say, we are, matter is energy. We are energy beings.
Absolutely.
Manifest in a physical manifestation, but actually we're more energy than matter, but we get distracted by being so physical. So understanding our energy systems is really what you speak of. It's beautiful.
And I mean, Einstein, I mean, he was talking about this, a lot, and I think, we don't have anything that can measure this energy now, right? But who's to say in years to come that there won't be some machine that can actually measure the energy around you, measure the energy within you, who's to say? I always think, people probably like, oh, there was this crazy girl I used to know, she wore a different color every week. But like, who knows? One day there might be something that can actually detect it.
Can I ask you, I mean, because I haven't, I studied a little bit here and there, not as much as you have in the teacher trainings, but in your studies, where did it first come into sort of play in terms of like in scriptures or in studies, in when did it sort of arrive in the Western world as a teaching, and where was its origin?
So actually how yoga kind of, came about is that these yogis would meditate and they would become aware of a sensation, of a feeling, a sensation in the body. And like that's how yoga actually came. That's how it was birthed, through them actually being aware of like these different energy centers. And so it's also called Kundalini. I mean, Kundalini yoga is something a little bit, but this, whatever we're talking about with the chakras, is Kundalini. It's energy. And that's what we're talking about. And, we've got these different sheaths, like there's Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manamaya Kosha. So this is a sheath. It's a sheath, really. So it's like a layer. It's a layer. And we also always talk about peeling back, the layers, peeling the onion. So it's about like revealing the layers. But so for me personally, it was actually through Shimon. Even though I'd kind of like, there was always this chakra thing going on, like I say, when I studied Reiki, when I did Jim's teacher training. But Shimon, when I look back at my notes, he was talking about it. I mean, when I first started with him in 2009, but it also, it kind of, it took a while for it to really integrate with me, because he was talking about it all the time, but then I think it's been through through the way I've been doing it as he suggested. And I was like, did nobody in the room hear him? Because he really did make it like it. I wrote it down. It was a suggestion. But yeah, I am starting to see some of the, the people that I've been in teacher trainings with, they're also starting to kind of do it. But yeah, it just, I think that's how it kind of, it just all integrated for me. So it was always there, but then it was just like, oh my gosh. And maybe through my own experience. So it was always, he was talking about the chakras and he would like devote time to each one. But also I've done my own like research, my own investigation. So I think that's what happens is then you almost not make it your own. I mean, with respect, obviously, to the traditions, but you kind of, through your own experience, that's then what you share, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I just got a note this from Vilda. Thank you so much. She loves the idea of using color by wearing them according to the chakra. that you meditate. She said a teacher told her to eat food in that color too, but mostly what helped her was working on the chakras, was also the practice of Jinsen Jitsu. Did I pronounce it right, Belda? Probably.
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. Unmute yourself, yes? Or give me a thumbs up, or just clarify the name of what it was.
Yes,
There we
it was right. Jinshin Jutsu. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So
Absolutely.
that's from the Chinese lineage. So obviously that what I'm, that's the thing, it all comes to the same. And I speak about Pythagoras a lot because of numerology, and I recently learned that he actually traveled to India. Can you imagine, in those times, traveling from Greece to India? But it made so much sense because he tapped into everything. But it's like everything basically comes to the same. It's just different ways. But there's obviously the kind of the Chinese medicine system as well. It's actually all the same thing.
The origin is actually from Japan.
Yeah,
Probably.
Japan, absolutely. Sorry.
Japan,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
But
And
you can practice it everywhere. You can practice it in the train. You don't really need to sit down and do some special time out for that. You can do it wherever you like to use that practice and concentrate also on the energy that it's also flowing through us as well.
It's like, so the Zen Buddhism, it all is the same, actually.
All connected. It's all connected. Absolutely. Pete, I know you just switched your video off. I know the Wi-Fi is here and there. You can just give us sort of, when you come on, little feedback if you want any more commentary or want to make comments on Dom's answering your question.
No, I loved her answer. I think it was fantastic. Really helped me understand the system as a whole and how to, retain or try and maintain a balance. And we are pulled this way and that way, and we can check in with each chakra and see what's going on. It's quite a crazy and a cool system. If you can understand the parts and the elements that make up each chakra to help you get back on track. So no, it's thanks for that, for sure.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pete.
Thanks, Pete. PB.
Yeah, man. You guys rock.
You rock.
With his drumsticks.
Has he got drumsticks there? I thought so. Yes, I thought so. Calabash.
Yep. The Kanteys and the Bashes and the Barnets.
Yes.
Brilliant. When you started off, you said how it's really been something where you can put it into a toolkit, but with your description, it's been amazing because you have shown us how you can work these centers, work with that physical part of the body, work with the senses. It gives you such a great focal point. Weekly, we bombard ourselves, and it really can simplify things and sort of hone in on something. And anything you practice a lot at and you give love and attention and regard to, you get better at understanding and utilizing and internalizing. So I really I find that very inspiring. I mean, I'm very, very motivated by color as well. As you know, and my background as an artist and painter and having studied fine art and aurosoma over the years. But I love the further integration of the chakra system with this. So that's been beautiful. Okay, anybody else in the house? Who else has any inquiry or has worked with it or didn't really know anything about chakras before you tuned in tonight? So it's always nice to have a little bit of a round table, a little bit of a chat. So unmute yourself, please raise your hand and just make a comment while you're sitting there. I can see you all, even those of you where your screens are off. And if you don't, I'm going to ask Mara. So Mara, I know that Mara studied, did a teacher training with me a couple of years back, and she's been teaching yoga now for the past few years. Mara, is the chakra system sort of something that you've worked with a little bit, or was this a little bit of a newer section for you?
I remember in our training as a yoga teacher in Cape Town with you, we've done the chakras with one of the teachers, and it was very interesting to me. But I've done a course in Mindscape with Dale Fox, and we've done Beyond Right Brain, and she put us on this journey that you choose, or the universe choose one animal or in the identity to walk with you for every chakra that I have. And that is such an amazing journey that I am on, using my animals. We call it totem animals for every chakra. We only add the feet chakra because then I have 8 of the totem animals that walk my path of my journey with me, and that is really amazing. I will and usually with full moon you meditate around one of your chakras, totem animals, so you can walk with them continuously. So it's very interesting to just see which the colors are very easy, but to just connect like the air and the water and all the elements with it also make a lot of sense, and it helps me. But I've never done, you must remember, I give yoga in a very Afrikaans environment. People just don't even know the name, and but I can use it for myself in a different way. So yes, I walk my walk with my chakras and my totem animals. Thank you for just instate that again for me. I just love to walk my walk with my totem animals. Yes, and it's very interesting, really. If you want to do that course, just contact me. I will put you on that path, because I see you love the chakras very much, and I can't stay with one chakra for 1 week in my yoga classes, because if I do that, I will do that secretly for myself, not because you can't open it up for everybody, because you must choose what you do in every yoga class. But thank you for just put a stamp on it again for me. Thank you, Dominique. Yes.
Thanks, Laura. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing. There was a really intelligent question, actually, and I'm really pleased it was brought up. Marlene brought up, and she said, because it's true, not all of us, there are a couple of us that have taught yoga on the platform, or a couple of us that practice yoga now and again, but the chakra system is a system all of its, on its own anyway, whether you do yoga or you don't. So the question was, do you need to practice yoga to integrate the chakra system? I'm going to hand it over to you, Dom. You can check in the chat just that question, but just to answer Marlene's question. I love that you brought it up. Thanks, Marlene.
It's a brilliant question, actually. So obviously the yoga poses are going to take attention to that area. So like when it's root chakra, we'll do grounding poses. When it's sacral chakra, we'll do hip opening. When it's Manipura, solar plexus, we'll do twisting. When it's heart, we'll do back bending, you know, so it goes like that. But I've run like a workshop where it's more like just philosophy, you know, and it's just having the awareness of it. And maybe if you can just do like a little bit of breathing and a bit of meditation. Obviously, Lainey and myself, we're always going to say you should do yoga. Like we think, you know, the whole world should be doing yoga, but yeah, you can access it. That's the thing. It's so accessible. It's so accessible without even the yoga. And as Velma was saying as well, but also just so the chakras also do have animals. So root is elephant, sacral is crocodile, solar plexus is ram, heart is antelope. The higher chakras don't have animals. I don't know if that corresponds with what Mara's learned, but and with the food, I wouldn't say so much eat the color. So, you know, obviously they're always talking about eating the rainbow, but actually what you would do for root chakra, you would eat food that carries an earth vibration. So like potatoes, beetroot, anything that grows underground, carrots. Then for sacral, it would be food that carries a water vibration. So like melons, asparagus. So it's a little bit different too, but you know what? If you just eat the color and do it like that, I'm sure it will work. It's, you know, it's energy. So yeah.
I'm going to jump in and add to your question that you asked, Marlene. So personally, like there's a lot of the chakra system I came across in my various studies of metaphysics over the years. And I came across it actually before I did yoga full time. I know that Marlene's an artist. That connection straight away to your creativity is you connected to the chakra system. This chakra system is an energy system. All it is speaking about the energy systems, the 7 main energy systems that sit within our body. So you don't need to do any yoga moves, in my opinion. I mean, it's nice to, and it activates it, but that awareness of, so the root chakra being the base of the body from the legs down, from the like pubic area, the legs down, the sacrum, you know, just below the belly button, navel, around that waistband. So just an awareness of where they sit in the body, holding that and engaging in your creativity, that feeling you have. So the best explanation, because I also painted for 20 years, that feeling you have when you are painting and you come out of painting, it's like you've come out of a trance, right? Is that same connection to these energy fields that sit within you. So this explanation of it just allows you to deepen your understanding of this universe of creativity that sits within you. I hope that explains it. Unmute yourself just for a moment.
So I'm trying to understand all this, but if something's blocked, if one of your chakras are blocked, how would you unblock it? How would you heal it? How is that through yoga, or is it through eating, or is it through everything? Is it all holistic? It's not just.
Dom, do you want to answer, and then I'll jump in afterwards and give you what I think.
So, or you go first, Lainey.
So you know, I feel like if yoga isn't the thing that you're practicing, there might be a sort of resistance to like, oh, well, shit, you know, I don't even do that thing. So how am I going to access a chakra that, you know, and I don't do yoga? What I would do is, say, for example, you know that maybe your heart area feels blocked. You feel sort of withheld, and just knowing that area, focusing attention in a positive way, in tenderness, in kindness, giving yourself some quality time in the heart area, maybe asking a chakra practitioner, you know, what would be the tools. What for me is very important when I work with people is to always advise them in a direction that serves your lifestyle and what it is you do. So if there's an area like the heart, what things open up your heart space and what things have closed up your heart space? Are you open to going and, you know, speaking to either, you know, a practitioner, a healer, a good friend? What can nurture and hold you? And you know, that's how I would approach it.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to add. I don't know, and I wanted to resonate as well. I would never like to give somebody advice about something they actually don't do. I'd like to tap into what it is you do, and then make it accessible for you to find the key to that energy center.
Thank you. That
Okay.
makes sense. Thank you.
Cool. Okay, gonna just check our chats. Mara, yes, Daphne, we live in this wonderful, interesting world that opens our mind in awesome ways. Yes. Lovely. Yes, I'm just going through. Okay, anybody else in the house that just wants to add to this really delicious conversation? I see there's some more friends that have arrived. I want to say hello to Charlie. I haven't seen you for ages, and it's really nice to see you. So hi. Hello, hello. Helga's in the house. Hello, Helga. I'm pleased you could make it tonight. And Mila, I haven't seen you for a while, so I'm so pleased you could. I know you've been super busy, so I'm pleased you could make it tonight. So anybody else who wants to just add into the conversation of chakras, a comment or something new they might have learned, or a question they want to know about? I'm just looking around to see if anyone is curious, and I'm going to throw in here, while you're all deciding if you actually want to ask a question or feeling too shy. It's just me in my kitchen, really. And Dom, you know, going deeper into the chakra system, wanting to investigate it or find out more, please know that Dom is 100% available. I think she does do a course as well, so I'm going to leave her details. And I'm just going to try and multitask to quickly. Pleasure, Daphne. It was so nice. So before you go, because I know people are starting to stop. Just stop for one moment. Give me one moment. Something I want to tell you that's super important before we continue is please, you must save the date on the 13th of March. It is a very special edition. It's a Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. I've got a world famous integrated oncologist, Dr. Thomas Lodi. He is flying in, no, he's coming, or zooming in all the way from Thailand. I can't do it on a Thursday, it's too late. And he managed to say yes to me. He's going to be speaking about how we make cancer and how we can stop making cancer. He's brilliant. I've been listening to him for the past few months. He's easy to listen to. He's genius. I did follow a very similar protocol, which is why I'm so healthy and fit, having gone through breast cancer myself. So please save the date, 13th of March, Sunday, 11 a.m. So last question for the evening, if somebody else just wants to ask Dom while she is still in the house. I'm seeing everybody really nicely content. So Dom, I just want to
now or something.
Yes, please, Mila.
Okay, I just wanted to see what Dom's view is, and maybe yours as well, on food cravings and when you feel like wearing a certain color. Do you think that's an intuitive way of your body telling you which chakra needs healing?
Dom?
So should I go? Okay, so because I've also just seen here, do animals have chakras? Okay, so they absolutely do. So what we're saying is energy is around us, energy is within us. Okay, we have the ability to, well, to our knowledge, we think we're the only ones that have the ability. Who knows, maybe animals do too, but to actually you know, we have the mind that can then assess and create the stories around everything. But I just feel I must just say something now just to clarify, because there's a lot of this kind of Western thing of, okay, so chakra in Sanskrit is actually a wheel. So it means wheel. And so the chakras are actually wheels that spin. So this energy is actually spinning. And if it's going to either spin to, okay, so ideally it's spinning, everything's spinning and it's optimum, whatever. But it can either spin too slowly or too fast. And that's where the kind of, so it's not really about, you hear a lot about like, yes, there are, when energy is not flowing, yes, it's blocked, but it's not really like, I don't know, I don't really resonate with opening the chakras and like closing them. It doesn't, it's a wheel that spins. So it's like a continuous thing that's happening in our bodies and we like, it's not like only yogis are born with chakras. That's what I'm saying. Like everybody is like, we all have this, whether we can see it or not, we have this within us. And so absolutely you can, like it's just through awareness and just through exactly what Lainey was saying, anything that you connect to that resonates with it, that can help you to kind of, bring yourself back into center. And so this whole thing of working like I was saying, like I do. So obviously, different people are going to have different things going on in different energy centers. When you work with people for long enough, you can see and know. But this way of just kind of just addressing everything always and just keep going back to it, and it's just like this continuous cycle. You can't really do harm like that. It's not it can't, it's just basically taking attention to an area and obviously trying to just allow for chi or energy or whatever you want to call it to allow it to flow. So Mila, to answer your question, look, cravings come from different things. Often it's connected to often how you're feeling. I loved what we had that speaker, he spoke about needs not being met. Jason, I love that. So he was saying when your needs aren't met, then that's also going to result in, so I don't really I don't have cravings. Like I just, Lenny and we just like to eat. Yeah. But I don't really like crave anything per se. But yeah, I mean, I suppose if you, like I say, if you're craving like potatoes, maybe you do need grounding, and so yes, the potatoes are then helping you to ground. But I think most of the time we're craving almond croissant and stuff like that. So I don't, so yeah, I think you have to kind of, I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah,
and then connecting.
I'm a bit spicy. I eat meat, which I don't eat a huge amount of, and then it like grounds me. So I don't know if meat is also something that helps your root chakra. I don't know. I know it's not. It's more. It's not a big.
No, it's all good, and that's the thing. There's no one size fits all in any of this. It's all a personal thing. It's all a personal journey, and it's not like what works for someone might not work for someone else. So it's not about that. I'm just saying in terms of what I've studied and what I've learned, it actually doesn't mention meat for any of the chakras. But I mean, that's not to say that, but food that is grown underground will ground you. Like potatoes it grounds you. It carries that vibration, that energy of, and then like I say, the same for water, would be for sacral. Then for solar plexus, it's more the grains, pulses. Then for heart, it's fruit and nuts. And then the higher energy centers, so it would be stuff that kind of has a blue for throat but it's actually, these energy centers are fed by connection and not actually food, the higher ones. But that's just what
it's funny you just said that, because I feel like my solar plexus area, something's happening there at the moment, and I've been craving like brown rice and stuff like that, which is exactly that. So cool.
Eat your brown rice, it's good.
It's very grounding. Brown rice is very, very grounding. It's something that I eat daily because I'm a little airy. But to come back, I mean, I don't really eat much meat, but I do know, I remember doing a course with a rabbi actually, and he was chatting about one of his students had sort of, if one can, he sort of had lost the plot, one of the students, and really needed grounding. And he sent the student off to go and get a burger. He was like, go and have meat. He had sort of floated into the stratosphere too much and needed to come back to, so it might not, if you feel like it supports you, if it's good quality, you know, that's absolutely fine. But again, like Dom said, you know, things that will ground you, root vegetables, and in terms of cravings, like Dom said as well, there are many aspects that can create it, but it is then speaking about the sacral chakra. My sort of download that I feel like I'm intuitively getting is also to give yourself some sort of time, because I know the work that you do, you do sort of like, you do give yourself sort of a spiritual time, you know, you've been working on this for a while. So I feel like it's really connect with your creativity. When there's something missing, I feel like we're not connecting with our creativity. There's a lack of connection. And I mean, I speak really from my own experience as well. You know, when I'm hungry, am I actually hungry? How often are you really, really hungry? You know, so we know when we're having a craving, it's not a hunger, unless you're pregnant, or unless you know, there's a specific, or you really, I have a craving for beetroot. I actually did the other day. I thought about beetroot, and that's an iron thing. You know the difference between that and then like an emotional cupcake or chips. Establish the difference. And when it is on the side of unhealthy, look at what isn't feeding you, what relationship isn't feeding you, where can you filter in creativity to support you, because creativity is your closest connection to source. Creativity, where your second chakra is, where your stomach is where your womb is. It's where you were birthed. We were all birthed. We all came from this creative center. The fact that you came from a creative center makes you a creative being. So we are supported by our creativity when we engage in creativity. So I just thought I'd throw that in. Charlene asked, is there a website, Dom, or books that to learn more about this for someone where it's new? What would you recommend?
Like I said, most of what I learned was from my teacher, and it's like I wrote books and books of like handwritten notes. Then I would say that Eastern Body, Western Mind, or Anatomy of the Spirit. So Caroline Myss, Anatomy of the Spirit. Oh, another thing that I didn't mention is I love Louise Hay's work as well. So she wrote You Can Heal Your Life, and it literally lists every single body part and the, you know, what happens when some, you know, if your throat, you have a throat infection, it's, you know, something you can't say, or, you know, you're having problems in that center. So it's all, it literally lists every single, I'd love to know what she would say. Unfortunately, she died like 3 years ago. I'd love to know what she would say about this that's happening now. But yeah, so Louise Hay, Caroline Myss, Anatomy of the Spirit, Eastern Body, Western Mind, Anodia Judith. So there are also some obviously yoga books. I don't even know how I've just like, I don't know, gained information through, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know where.
I'm going to jump in and say as well, I really loved Carolyn Mace's, and I've written it down, her name for you, Charlene, her Anatomy of the Spirit. What she does is, it's a beautiful comparative book. You can get a book. I do advise. Thank you, Eva. If you have to sign off, I understand. So amazing to see you. Bye, honey. We'll speak again soon. Charlene, what she does is she does this comparative between the chakra system, the 7 sacraments, and the 7 levels of the tree of life. And she really brings it into focus, all these three systems, bringing all the 7 levels of energy. She explains it beautifully. If you are going to go and look for her, please, I prefer her audios. Her audios are fantastic. Audiobooks are fantastic to listen to. I find the books a little bit, they're not as much fun to listen to. I found it was much easier to absorb it. It was more thorough. She's a really good speaker. She's a good teacher. Go and have a listen to Anatomy of Spirit. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. Okay. Just to say, Pete, Eva said goodbye as well. So that was my cousin who had tuned in all the way from New York, which is so exciting. I do love that we have a really multinational, when you stop concentrating, how the tongue just slips. Audience here, which is so nice. It just makes it, and I literally have family and extended family and close soul sisters sitting in the house. So to end off, I just wanted to say a real hearty thank you from the bottom of my heart, Dom. I am so excited you came on, and for me, a personal thing of why I'm excited is Dom and I next weekend are going to be hosting first of, please God, many wellness weekends, a project I've been working on for a couple of years. Dom and another friend of ours, Lisa, and I are hosting this 2-day workshop in Hout Bay. It's going to be amazing, and one of the sections is Miller, if you were in Cape Town, you would just love this. Honestly, it would even be worth the trip. If you could get 12 people together in Durban, we will come up and do it. But it's how to think well, the psychology of our thoughts, how to change our habits, look at how we think and move toward a better change for what supports us, how to move well. It's not about yoga. I'm not actually going to do any yoga. I'm going to show you how the body's made up of geometry. And you'd love that, Marlene. You would absolutely love that, because it's literally your artist mind will just link in these puzzle pieces, and then you just see how things slot in so beautifully. We're doing, Dom's going to do her chakra workshop, which is, I'm so excited about, because I must tell you, I'm going to have to be cooking in the kitchen when you're doing it. So now I didn't miss it. I got to hear it. And then Dom and I are doing a nutrition section on how to eat healthy, nourishing food, mostly plant-based, but it's not about being plant-based. It's about making good choices that are nutrient dense. So please, everybody, remember, save the date for the 13th of March, Sunday, 11 a.m. South African time. A very special edition then. Domi, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I just loved your input, your wisdom, so succinct, and I'm so excited. We're going to be working more next weekend. So thank you.
Thank you.